Hello, everybody. My name is Lauren, and this is Lauren's church. If you hear any noise in the background, my nephew and niece are here, so that's what you're hearing. It's just my family. But let's get into it. So, Lauren's church, I usually try to let Yahweh speak. If he has anything to say, I let him speak through me. And sometimes I also will say things I feel people need to know. And sometimes I speak in tongues. And today, as you know, I didn't do Lauren's church last Saturday because last Saturday I just wasn't feeling good. I don't know if I had a small cold or something. I just wasn't feeling good. And today it is the next Sabbath and I'm feeling fine. Just last Sabbath, like I said, I wasn't feeling very good, so that's why I didn't do Lauren's church. But today is Sabbath and I'm feeling fine, so we're gonna do Lauren's church today. And I wanted to tell y'all about something that happened to me literally last week. And it happened last Tuesday. It was last Tuesday. And it was just crazy what happened. And Yahweh was with me, of course, but it was just crazy. So there's this church in our town. I don't know exactly what it's called. But about 4 months ago, it was like 4 or 5 months ago, Yahweh told me to go to this church, and I was having dreams where literally Yahweh was showing me that there was demons in this church, and I was having multiple dreams, and eventually it just got to the point where I just couldn't ignore it, and I'm like, okay, I've never been to this church, never seen this church, and Yahweh just keeps showing it to me. I'm like, there has to be some reason. So I started praying and asking God, and I just kept feeling like God's go to this church, go to this church. So I went to the church, and since I've never been to this church, I went to their Sunday service. I was trying to do this the nice way. I didn't want to get mad or anyone to get mad or anything, because sometimes when you tell people the truth, they don't like it. So I went to the church, and in the dreams, Yahweh kept telling me that their service is one big ad. They kept telling me they're gathering people, but they're not teaching them anything about Yahweh. And that's what Yahweh wanted me to tell the pastor. So I went to the church, and I was really nervous. I get really nervous talking to people that are strangers. I get anxiety. I get really nervous, to the point to where I'll start crying. I get that nervous. But like I said, Yahweh just kept telling me, and I gotta listen with Yahweh. Yahweh comes first. So I went to the church, and when we got there, I was so shocked because, like I said, never seen this church in my life. Okay? When we got to this church, it looked just like it did in my dreams. It looked identical. And I was just I know Yahweh can do anything, but it was just freaked me out. I was I saw this in my dream, but I've never actually been to this church, and it looks identical now that I'm here in person. And it was just crazy. Like I said, it was just crazy. So like I said, we went to the church, and my mom went with me, and we currently don't have a church that me and my family continually go to. We know some churches that do live on YouTube that we like watching, sorry, I was just scratching my leg. We know some churches online that actually speak the truth, they speak the actual truth, because people go to church and they're oh, I go to church so I'm saved, I got the golden ticket to go to heaven. That's not how it works. If you're going to church, you gotta make sure whoever is the pastor there that's teaching you is teaching you the truth. So many people go to church, but they don't ask questions, or they don't ask the pastor this is this. You need to ask questions and make sure he is teaching the truth, because there's so many churches out there that they're come join my church, but the fact is they're not actually teaching the truth, or some churches will only partly teach the truth. So you got to make sure that your church is teaching the truth. So let's continue anyway. So like I said, I was there. I went to the Sunday service. If I remember correctly, they had 2 services on Sunday, 2 or 3. And we went, this service was around 11 something. It was lunchtime. So me and my mom went, and we watched the whole service. And it was just like Yahweh showed me. It was ad after ad after ad. And literally, I think he talked about the Bible maybe 15 seconds, if even. And whatever he said, I did not remember. He just kept going on. He was join this group, join this group. And I'm not hating on this church. I'm just telling you honestly how it was. This is just honestly how it was. And after the service, I spoke with the pastor that did the service. I spoke with him and I told him that God's been telling me that your service is like one big ad. You're gathering people, but you're not teaching them anything. And he listened to me. He was actually pretty nice, because I know people that if you try to contradict what they're teaching, sometimes they'll get upset. But when Yahweh tells you to do something, you're just supposed to listen. You know, we're supposed to listen to what Yahweh tells us. So like I said, I told him basically everything Yahweh's been telling me, and I was really upset while talking to him, because like I said, I get anxiety like really bad. And usually, the way my anxiety is, usually if I talk to you once, usually the second time I'm okay talking to you. It's just the very first time I talk to someone, I get really nervous. So, like I said, I was talking to him, told him basically everything Yahweh told me to tell him, how he just told me his service is like one big ad, and that they're gathering people. Oh, Ellen. Oh, cool. Lola's busy. Lola's busy. Please go in there.
Wait.
Hold on. I'm sorry. That was my niece. She was just showing me a coloring page she did. I paused the video real quick. I'm sorry about that. But let's continue. Like I said, I told him everything. I just told him everything that was going on, that Yahweh wanted me to tell him. And he listened, and he was like, okay. And he just basically said, thanks for sharing. And nothing really happened. So it's been about 4 months. Sorry, all my okay, maybe my nephews and stuff will not come in here anymore. I mean, they just don't know better. They're young. They don't know better. So anyway, like, let's continue. And like I said, nothing really came of it. He just said thank you for telling me, pretty much, and he was really nice about it. So like I said, it's been about 4 months since I've been to this church. And I decided that I decided, like, I had really, sorry, my words are mumbling together. Basically, I wasn't really feeling like I needed to go back or anything. And like I said, it's been now like 4 months. So last Tuesday, like, all of a sudden, like, I wake up, and all of a sudden, like, it's just hit me, like, hard. Like, Yahweh's like, go back to that church. Go back to that church. And like I said, it's been like 4 months since I've been to that church. And like, it hit me hard. Like, Yahweh's like, go back to that church. Like, Yahweh was literally telling me, he's like, go back to that church. They did not listen. Like, that is literally what Yahweh was telling me. He was like, go back to that church. They did not listen. And I'm like, okay, Yahweh. So I'm thinking maybe it's nothing. Maybe I'm just hearing things. But then, like, it kept coming, and it was just getting worse and worse. And I'm like, I have to go back to this church. Like, I can't stand feeling this way. Like, y'all know how it feels when you don't listen to Yahweh. So I told my mom, and it was Tuesday, like I said. And, you know, the church is usually open on Sunday. So I looked it up, and it said the church was open on Tuesday. And my mom was busy, and eventually, it was like 10:30, she took me over to the church. Well, I went in, and there was this lady there, and she was like telling me that we have 3 different pastors that switch out, that do the service. And she was saying that this pastor's here right now, and if you want to talk to him, you can. And I was like, it's okay, I'll just talk to him, because I'm like, it doesn't matter which pastor I talk to. Like I said, he can pass on what I said to the other pastor, etc. And Yahweh had this story he wanted me to tell him. So I walk into this pastor's office, and I don't remember what this pastor's first name was. I mean, I don't want to mention his name anyway, because I just, you know, I want to keep it like a secret. Like, I don't want people showing up at the church, you know, because of anything I've said. Like, I forgive the pastor. I'll get more into that later. But anyway, I walked in to his office, and let me tell you, he had candles in his office. Like, he didn't really have any other lighting, and these candles were on the wall, almost set up in a circle. And it was just kind of weird how he had them. Well, anyway, I sit down, and I tell him, like, I'm being very nice this whole conversation, not yelling, nothing. And I tell the pastor, I'm like, I basically tell him, I'm like, I think Yahweh wants me to tell you something. And he's like, okay. And I tell him the story about the sheep and all that. And immediately, like, I'm telling you, like, I didn't even tell y'all, when I walked in, he, like, smiled really creepy at me. Like, I swear, like, a demon took over him. He smiled at me, really creepy, and he was like, do I know you? And it was just like this really creepy smile. And like the whole time I was talking to him, he just kept like staring me down. And like throughout the conversation, he was like trying to like puff his chest up. And I heard people that I talked to, they said when they puff their chest like that, that's like pride. And I'm like, I don't know about that, but he just like kept like throughout the conversation wanting to like puff his chest out or make himself look bigger. And like I said, he told me that I couldn't hear from God because I haven't gone to his church 3 services, and I didn't bring this up during the conversation, but I have no idea what me going to his church service 3 times has anything to do if I can hear from Yahweh or not. I don't know what that has to do at all. And he also told me that if I was to teach at his church the stuff that's in the Bible, like, I'm not making stuff up, like, the stuff is in the Bible, like, I was telling him different things. He said that he would put my hands behind my back and he would lead me outside the church and make it to where I could never come back. And he said that I was more than welcome to come watch his service, but he's like, if I started teaching that, he would have me kicked out. And I wasn't even, like, saying anything bad. Like, this whole conversation, I was being calm. Like, if anything, the pastor was the one being loud. Like, he was kind of starting to yell at me. And, you know how Yahweh tells us, like, if they're not willing to listen, to just walk away? That's pretty much what I had to do. We talked about different things. Like, I brought up, because in this church, I believe they teach Halloween, Christmas, and Easter. Well, I asked him why he didn't teach biblical holidays, like Feast of Trumpets or Purim, you know, different holidays. I asked him why he didn't teach those. And he said that he didn't have to. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you should teach these holidays. And he said, well, in this church, we only teach the New Testament. And then he said this, which didn't make any sense. He said that he believed in the New and Old Testament. I'm like, okay, if you believe in the New and Old Testament, why aren't you teaching the Old Testament? And he said that it would confuse his people. He's like, if I start teaching them about these other holidays and stuff, it would confuse them. I'm like, and I didn't say this either. I'm like, I'm just thinking it. I'm like, the only reason they're going to be confused is because you lied to them. That's the only reason they're going to be confused, is because you lied to them. And basically, he started, like, getting in my face, kind of. And he was just, like, basically kept, like, every time I would try to talk, he would try to, like, make it where he couldn't hear me, or I was just, like, he was, like, basically the best way to explain it, he was, like, basically, like, stop talking. So I left because I knew he wasn't going to listen to me, and the whole conversation felt like I was just talking to a demon, basically. Like I said, throughout the conversation, he kept, like, puffing out his chest, or, like, kind of, like, sometimes he would kind of, like, do this wiggle, and, like, the whole conversation and the way his office was, it just felt like I was basically talking to a demon. And like I said, I don't blame the pastor. I forgive him. I just feel bad for the people he's going to manipulate into believing things that aren't true. And I can pray for him. You can pray for him. I pray that he learns the truth. Amen. But, yeah. And I left because I just realized he wasn't going to listen to me. Like, it got to the point where he wouldn't even let me talk. So I knew he wasn't going to listen to me. And so I left. And, of course, people, like, I'm told, they're like, Yahweh was with you, pretty much is what people have been saying. And, yeah, Yahweh was with me. And I just pray that he learns the truth before it's too late and makes it into the kingdom, because that's what matters. Amen. And that's what happened to me. Yeah, kind of crazy, but that's what happened to me. I'm not making that up. Like, that story actually happened. And I think at one point in the conversation when I was talking to the pastor, he actually told me that his church would be confused. And I'm like, they're going to be confused because they're going to wonder why you didn't teach them this stuff before, why you taught them these lies. That's why they're going to be confused. But he wasn't going to listen to me. Like I said, I just walked out, because Yahweh says they're not willing to listen, to walk away. And he was not willing to listen. He was just getting mad and wanting to argue. So I left. Yeah, I was upset after, but like I said, I forgive him. And I just feel bad for the people he's going to lead astray. I feel bad for those people. Well, anyway, like I said, happy Sabbath. Like I said, during Lauryn's church, I usually just teach y'all the Bible, of course. And sometimes Yahweh wants me to say things. Like right now, like as I'm speaking, I feel like Yahweh wants me to say, like Yahweh loves y'all, or like he cares about y'all. Like whoever's watching this, like Yahweh wants me to say like he loves y'all, or he cares about y'all, is what I'm feeling. Like the way Yahweh talks to me is very unique. I mean, it's probably unique for everybody. And I just like get the feeling like he's wanting me to say like he cares for y'all, or like he loves y'all. And honestly, I just make these videos usually as long as I feel they should be, you know? Like, if I feel like Yahweh has nothing to say, that's usually when I'll end the video. We'll see if what Yahweh wants me to say or what I feel I should say. We'll see. Yahweh, is there anything you want me to say on this video today? Okay, like I keep, like I don't know if this is Yahweh or me, but I just like keep hearing like sending out his troops. Like I keep hearing like sending out his troops. This isn't the first time. Like for like a while, like this week, I've been hearing like sending out his troops. Like maybe Yahweh's like saying like he's sending out his troops, kind of like he sent me to that church. I don't know. I feel like Yahweh's like saying like tell them that I love them. Like they need to know I love them. I love them. I love them. Never forget Yahweh loves you. Okay, y'all remember the fishermen? You remember his disciples and how they were on that boat and they're in a terrible storm and Yahweh was just sleeping? Like right now, like I think Yahweh's like basically saying, he's like, trust me during the storm. Like he's like, trust me during the storm. Because you know, they woke Yahweh up and then he just calmed the storm and it was peaceful. And that's basically what Yahweh was, I think, saying. Like he's like, trust me during the storm. I feel that was like what Yahweh was telling me to tell y'all. He's like, trust me, even if you don't think like it's gonna come, like you're gonna get out of this bad time, trust Yahweh. Yahweh's like, even when you don't think you're gonna get out of this bad time, trust me. Just like they didn't believe Yahweh could calm the storm, he did, and they were fine and they made it to the other side. Well, I think I'm going to end the video right here because, like, I know this is kind of one of my shorter videos, but I just honestly don't really feel like there's anything else for me to say. And I just don't feel like there's anything else Yahweh really wants me to say. Besides, the main thing is just when you're going to church, just make sure the person that's teaching you is teaching the truth. Like I said, so many people go to church and they think, oh, I go to church, so I'm saved, I got this golden ticket, 1, 2, 3, I'm in heaven. That's not how it works. Just because you went to church, just because you did Halloween, Christmas, and Easter, does not mean that you got this golden ticket and you're going to be in heaven. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. If you want to be in heaven, all Yahweh is asking is for you to follow the Bible the best way you know how. He's not asking you to go to church every Sunday. He's not asking you to do a million Bible groups. He's not asking you to teach other people the truth. He's just asking you to follow the Bible the best way you can. And I know this probably hurts a lot of people that got to church for a long time. Just because you go to church, just because you have Christmas, Halloween, Easter, does not mean you're saved. Christmas, Halloween, Easter aren't even biblical holidays. And it's sad, but some churches won't teach you the biblical holidays, like Feast of Trumpets, like Purim, and so on. Those are biblical holidays. But if you talk about Christmas, Easter, and Halloween, you'll find out stuff about those holidays you're not going to like. Like Halloween's about worshiping the devil. Christmas is about worshiping a demon. Easter is about killing babies. Yeah, you're going to find a version of those holidays you're not going to like. And you're going to be like, why did they ever teach me? It's because the devil's evil. And the devil's really evil. But like I said, just make sure when you go to church, the pastor is actually teaching the truth. Some of the people I like to watch is Jacob's Tent. They teach pretty good. And also another church, it is, what's it called? It's called 1819, I believe. And the person that does it, his name is Philip. And those are some really good churches if you want to watch them. They speak the truth. Well, like I said, I think I'm going to end the video. Happy Sabbath for anyone that's watching this. And I guess, bye for now.